All right, what is going on? How y'all doing out there in two different platforms today? We're starting on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. How are y'all feeling? It is the day after Christmas. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas yesterday. For those of you who still have little ones, hope they got a chance to enjoy the festivities and not forget what Christmas is all about. It's the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And for those of you who did not get anything, work hard for next year. And hopefully people will look out for you. It's your Uncle Steve here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Uncle Steve's Lounge. Don't forget to press the like button on the videos. And also talking to you all in the Atlanta Bird Gang today. How's everyone doing out there in Atlanta Bird Gang? We haven't talked since that day, it's Saturday in Baltimore, where the Atlanta Falcons again come up very short and was not able to mount much of an offensive output. And the Baltimore Ravens, despite not having a couple of key players on defense and not having their all-world quarterback Lamar Jackson, still managed to defeat the Atlanta Falcons 17-9. We can go over that if we want to. I have no problem going over some of the plan of what happened that particular day. But I did have some specific questions. Listen, we still have 2 games to go, so no need to try to pretend. I know we all want to hurry up and get to the end of the season, but it's not. You know, we got to get 2 more games under our belt and 2 more home games, which I can't wait to go to the stadium those days. Those will probably be the easiest traffic days to get in and out. But I did have a couple of questions just to see where everyone is as Falcon fans and where we are. And that's what we are, Falcon fans. We're not Falcon GMs or anything like that. So for the 2022 season, I wanted to know which game, 2 different games, which game gave you hope and which game let you know it will see you again this time next year. So then what I mean by that, during this season, there was a time when I think everyone had the thought that, you know what, we're getting ready to take this to the next level. I think Falcons are going to be a team to be reckoned with. I think there was a time when everyone kind of was drinking the Kool-Aid, including myself. No doubt I was. And which game was it that you all just kind of said, you know what? I don't know why we're wasting our time. This is turn down the volume. Sorry about that. And the game where people said, you know what? Same old, as Grady said in a different way. Same old, let's go to next year. I have 2 of them. I think the game that gave me hope, and maybe there were 2, but I think the one that really set it off for me was the San Francisco game we played at home. And yes, I know San Francisco didn't have all of their defensive players, but they did have all their offensive players that game. And less McCaffrey, because that had not happened yet. But that was the game when I saw us run against a quality defense. And I also saw us, that may have been the only game that I think we truly, I don't want to even say dominated, but it's one of those games that I sit back and say, man, we actually did pretty good that day. So I just want to check the temperature of everyone, just to see what game gave you hope and what game let you know it was all over. For me, the game that let me know it was pretty much all over was the Pittsburgh game. It was something about just not only the atmosphere. I was at the game, so it was just a feel that we couldn't get any better than we were that particular day. There was something about that particular game. The vibe wasn't right. Of course, all the Pittsburgh fans were there, and we just didn't show up that day. And there was something about that that just left a nasty taste in my mouth. Again, we could talk about anything, but those are two questions that I would really like for folks to, answer if we could. The two games where you thought it was over. And I'm going to put up the link if anyone wants to join me for a short time. I'm supposed to be having some guests come in today, but if you did want to jump in, I just put the link in there so you can come on the screen if you feel like it. If not, I have no problem reading the comments. Christopher, what's going on, man? How you doing, sir? Good to see you in here. Ron Smith is in the house on Uncle Steve's Lounge. As usual, Ron, how you doing, sir? My buddy David Starks is always in the house there. My hope game, believe it or not, was the Saints game. My see you next year was Pittsburgh. And there was something about that Pittsburgh game that just sucked the life out of it for me. Even though we did a couple of good things that day, we just didn't, mount much of a offense. And there was something about leaving that stadium saying, oh yeah, we're not making the playoffs. So we'll see. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Cute. Good to see you in the house. Happy holidays to you. I hope your family did well this Christmas as well. Nacho, what's going on, brother? Say, how was your Christmas? My Christmas was well. How about yours? I hope everything worked well with you. Facebook user, that must be somebody in Atlanta Bird game. For some reason, the Atlanta Bird game feed isn't coming in, but always glad to have you all in here. Say the Niners game gave me hope. Same here. The Thursday night game versus Carolina let me know our 2022 squad wasn't ready. You know what? That Carolina game is a close second, and I'll tell you why. Because you knew that particular game, we were coming off of the loss, and I think that was the Chargers we lost to right before that, if I'm not mistaken, the Chargers, and then leading into Carolina. There was something about knowing that was the next one you needed to get, and you just didn't get it. We came out very sloppy against Carolina, and even still had a chance to close it in at the end of the game. But yeah, that Carolina game was actually one that I feel like is definitely on that list. Nacho also says, what game gave me hope in 2022? In my case, it was the one we had with San Francisco. And the one that gave me the chills was the Bengals, who tore us to pieces with passes. And the Bengals game was definitely one that let us know we weren't up here. But I think the only saving grace with the Bengals game, it was early enough in the year where, it was an AFC team. It's October. So you still had a chance to kind of rebound. And we actually did. And we got to 500 after we played that game. So, but I do see how you could tell, oh, yeah, that Cincinnati game was horrible. Travis, how you doing, sir? Say Arthur Smith is not head coach quality. He's pretty much the offensive version of Dan Quinn. It's obvious that Arthur Smith hire was a favor hire between Arthur Blank and Arthur Smith's family. Now, I don't know if it's obvious because, we speculate. But I must agree with you, Travis. I don't think Arthur has done the greatest job, and not even because he had a mishmash of probably lower than average players. I just think some of the situations that we were in, I think they could have been avoided. And as a coach, I'm not sure if he exactly was the guy. I don't know. I think he's going to get another chance. I think he's going to get a chance in 2023, but I think his hook is going to be short. I think if he comes out and he stumbles out to 1-3 or something like that, it's not going to be good. Folks, I am joined here by my buddy, Alberto, who is the host of one of the hottest YouTube shows going around, Falcon content.
Man.
95 North Atlanta, talking about sports talk and everything. How you doing, my friend?
My brother, I'm doing great. Blessed to be here another day because that's what it is. It's a true blessing, man. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. I know the holiday season is still in full swing, and I just pray that everybody has a great one, man.
Man, I'm just happy to be home for a change. I know this ended up being on the off day, so I was happy. I said, let me check in on my peeps. How was, on a personal note, how was Christmas?
Christmas was fantastic. Family, friends, just a great gathering, a lot of good food. Up late, just talking crap, just having a good old time. Just that's what it's meant to be on these times, man. Just enjoying those that are around you, man.
You can't beat that, man. No. You can't beat that time. My wife gave me this really nice, and unfortunately, it's upstairs. She gave me this really nice little pullover Falcon thing. So, and it's for the weather. It's perfect because it's cold.
Yeah.
So she as always is the best in the world. So she looked out for her booth. So that was a very nice thank you, wife. Appreciate
That's right. That's right. My wife got me a little something, man. And I collect jerseys. I have a lot of jerseys. And
you finally got the Felipe Franks? Did you finally get it? Did you
sold out?
It was sold out, all right. It was sold out, all right.
Sold out, man. So, she's like, oh, I got this one last gift. She's like, you got to go upstairs. So I go upstairs. Like the kids, everybody got everything ready. So when I walk upstairs, in a frame is a Devontae Freeman game worn from 2017 game. Man, bro, it was autographed and everything. I had certificate of authenticity to prove with it. I'm like, how'd you get your hands on this? I said, you know what? I don't care. It's one for the rafters. So I'll send you the picture after. I'll send it to you after, man. Yeah, man. So I was like, wow, I was taken back.
Outstanding job, wife. We appreciate that. Keeping our spirits high. But
got to.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have to turn the feelings to a lower feeling, and we're talking about how these Atlanta Falcons ended up the season. Alberto, I was just kind of getting into what was the theme of the show, and obviously we'll get, now that you're here, we're gonna get into more specifics. But I just wanted to start with the question we threw out.
Right.
In the 2022 season, what game gave you hope, and what game let you know we were thinking 2023?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's a great question. October 15th, October 16th, the game against the 49ers was the game of hope, and it's probably a popular game because that's the game where Atlanta looked to be clicking on all cylinders, so to say. The special teams was on point, the tackling, the defense, the offense, very proficient day of, for offensive numbers. And we made 49ers. If you look at it now, look what the 49ers have turned into, and look what we have turned into. So to get them at that time and beat them the way that we did at home kind of gave me that hope. Like, wow, man, I think we can actually, I think we got something going on here. And then to answer the second part to your question, for me, it had to be the Cincinnati Bengals game. That was coming off of, I don't know, what game did we play before him?
We had just, I know it was a win. Who did was it Cleveland? Was it right after Cleveland?
Right after Cleveland was Tampa Bay and all the, the horrendous play call. I mean, the refereeing that one.
Right.
So it was the Niners. Then the week after we played the Bengals.
Okay.
But we were all talking about the stretch that was coming and that the matchups looked so favorable for the Atlanta Falcons. And then, truth be told, we got punched in the mouth severely. I mean, sure, we had some guys out that game, more importantly, AJ Terrell, so not that if he was in the game, it would have maybe made a difference or not. We just got smacked in the mouth. And then from there on, it was pretty much, sledding downhill from there for the Atlanta Falcons, unfortunately. So those would be the games that glimmer of hope, 49ers, and then see you next year would be the Cincinnati Bengals game.
Yeah, I was with you. I told my answer earlier. I agree with you with the 49ers game. I went with the Steelers game, and only because I think adding in the atmosphere at home with the swarm of other fans in your house, and it was just a succubus kind of thing where everything was just kind of sucked out of the air. And even though we still at the end had an opportunity to try to win, I just felt like that was a game that was that let me know. I was like, yeah, maybe not. The Cincinnati game is actually a good one. The only reason I kind of throw that away, I know usually in the NFL you have on your schedule one throwaway game. The Cincinnati game was our throwaway.
Yeah.
And it was early. True. If it had been maybe second half of the season, I probably would have thrown that in there. I think my runner-up to Pittsburgh was actually the Carolina game.
The Thursday night game?
Thursday night game.
Oh, God.
I thought that was one that it was a game we knew we needed, and we fell entirely flat.
Yeah.
I'm going to run through a couple of comments, and then we're going to come back to you and our normal banter in here. Christy Lewis, how you doing? Christy say, game one was my hope. I felt the change in how the coaches took command of the media, and the players were enthusiastic about competing. I wanted to be there. And yeah, the New Orleans game had everything. I mean, it had the hype. We jumped out to a large lead, to your point about being enthusiastic and how we were competing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. What do you think about that first game?
Man, that first game, I said, whoa, wait a minute. This ain't the Atlanta Falcons of old. 4 sacks in a game. When's the last time we did that?
Man.
Everything was clicking. That was another game. But again, it proved to be a tale of two quarters. And we kind of just like reverted back in that fourth quarter to like, the similar ways that we finished off the 2021 season. So it's like, damn, man. But I mean, that was then.
How long ago does that seem when we got those 4 sacks? And I think we were like, man, this is a new team. We're going to do. Man.
I was so encouraged, man. I was beside myself. And I was like, man, this is new beginnings, man. Oh, man, Carter's coming in. And all these wonderful things, all these blitz packages, these exotic blitzes, these stunts and all that. And then we kind of just moved away from the formula that was actually there working and, which could have trickled into so many games going forward. It just didn't transpire that way, man. So, but yeah.
If memory serves me correct, Millie, isn't the game that we had the next best sack, wasn't that the Cincinnati game? Because we had
3 sacks, yeah.
Yeah, we had 3 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
So really, if you take those 2 games and then put them up against everyone else, man, I think we got fooled, man.
Yeah, I think so, man.
that was pretty bad. RJ is in the house. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Merry Christmas,
my
Christy
brother.
comes back and says, I was also hopeful at the Tampa game. I was there in the middle of Bucs fans when we were coming back. I made them pay attention, Christy. I know you brought fire in the game. Yes, that Tampa game is one of those. I think as obviously we're not at the end of the season, but as we recapping the move, I still came out of that Tampa game a little optimistic, not about the 21 points we gave up first, but how we came back in the end. Where was your mindset at the end of that game? Ticked off that we lost, or encouraged that we stood toe-to-toe?
I think I was more just ticked off because obviously because what had happened to us in that game, well, to Grady specifically, we were gaining so much momentum. Tampa Bay couldn't really move the ball in that second half on us. We kind of had, figured them out finally, so to say. And then when we did figure them out, we made the big play to stop, Brady's momentum. We get this horse, this baloney call. Let me just call it that. And it just, kind of just derailed the rest of the momentum. So my anger was on that. I thought that if that didn't happen, I think Atlanta could have came back and definitely won that game in some fashion because clearly the momentum was on our side. It was clearly on our side.
Might have been, unfortunately, a forecast for the rest of our season. Slow start.
Yeah, slow start.
Think about Tampa. Think about, Cincinnati was out of hand. You think about, the games we just had recently, the Baltimore game, the Pittsburgh game, New Orleans game, where we jump out and then we end up making it competitive, but unfortunately, too late in the end. RJ at Life, what's going on, brother? Happy holidays to you.
Holidays,
Happy
man.
Holidays there. Retro G in the house, what's going on? The Kool-Aid game for me. Okay, we're going to go with that. The Kool-Aid game for me was 49ers. My put the bottle down game was the command. Ooh, that actually. Ooh, man. I know we talked about that game before, you and our brother Smitty on Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. The Commanders game, man. Let's go back to it. Yeah, let's go back to second and goal, and where your mindset was about the decisions in that game.
Man, but decision was run the darn ball because it was working to perfection. It was working to perfection. We had a fresh Caleb Huntley on the sideline, but now that he has suffered the injury that he has, that was plaguing him for the better part of the season. But man, the formula was run the darn ball, man. It was working to perfection, and I don't know, man. I think Arthur just wanted to make Mariota the hero of the game. After shoving him down our throats for so many weeks, that was like, hey, I told you so. This was the guy, but no, man. And in those type of situations, you got to keep it as simple as possible. You can't get that creative and cute down there. You just got to stick to what has been working, man.
It wasn't creative. You said it the second time. It was cute. It was cute. Trying to put too much makeup and too much rouge and too much foundation.
Too much, man.
And it reeks of Seattle, New England in the Super Bowl.
God.
And I know it wasn't that big of a game, but you had opportunity to just not only run clock, but do what you do best is run the balls. It just outsmarted ourselves on that. Facebook user comes back and said, that was my comment, Steve, about the Niners in Carolina. Lisa, how are you, Lisa? I hope you had a very good holiday season. Christy comes back again, said, my fed up game that hurt my feelings, the Steelers game. I came with my Steelers family, long ride back to Mississippi. Yes, ma'am. And the family, I'm sure, had a very good time coming home. Again, we talked about the Steelers game again. First down, inside the 5, first pass, interception. I think that was the beginning of the end. What were your thoughts on that?
On the Pittsburgh game?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no. Excuse me 1 second, man. I got distracted with the plethora of text messages coming on here.
It's okay. It's okay. Hey, listen, I'm doing the same thing for the record.
Yeah, a bunch. Another game that we lost. It was within reach, 3 points. I think, the play calling could have definitely been better. We was definitely in the game. And I guess that's just really what it boils down to is better play calling. Better play calling is what needed to be done. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No, go do your thing, brother. We are good. I got you a message right here, and I'll let you come back to Nacho reaching out to you. Brother Timothy's in the house. Hey, what's going on, Stephen? We are now on the clock. Now we get a chance to see Coach Arthur Smith and crew going to be this offseason moving forward. Daniel's in the house. Daniel said we knew we weren't making the playoffs when the season started. No money in the first 2 years of Arthur Smith, Terry era. They literally had zero free agency other than bargain bin players. Here's the problem, Daniel, and I'm going to tell you, like I tell anybody else who goes through life with that defeatist attitude. We are trying to win, and I don't care. Yes, we know in the deep, dark annals of football lore that we didn't have the most talented team. But don't tell me, Alberto, and back me up on this, don't tell me that when we were 4-4, there wasn't at least the hope that there could be something special brewing in 2022.
Yeah, I agree. We played pretty good up into that stretch, man, and just the play calling kind of tripped over its own feet, and it just it just spiraled down from there. I really thought when we was at that point, we could have made a move in free agency or at the trade deadline to bring somebody in. We still needed defensive pieces to that could have been added. Maybe a playmaker at wide receiver to help catapult this thing to give or inject some more life into this Falcons team at that point. So the organization just didn't do right by what we needed. And just kept us on that playing level field that we were with the talent that we did have. I know that it's instrumental to those guys, but at the same time, if those guys ain't producing, you got to find ways to bring in guys that will bring that dog-like mentality to help out.
Well, speaking of bringing life in, and speaking of bringing that dog into the situation, here's our buddy, fresh off Christmas dinner. Don't know if it's anything left in his household to eat on this Monday. Our buddy, our pal, the king, the man, the myth, the legend.
Wow.
Antoine Smith. What's going on, brother?
You got one part right. Ain't no food left because I'm just waking up and I'm gonna tell y'all.
Oh man.
I had some good old Dunkin' Donuts here.
Oh well, excuse me.
Oh man.
Man.
How are you doing, Smitty? If y'all don't know, this is our brother Smitty from Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube, the most popular Atlanta Falcon creator site you're going to want to get to. My brother's just waking up. So tell us about Christmas, man. We had to spill the beans for 30 seconds. I saw a sneak peek of some stuff going on.
Oh yeah, boy. It was turned up for a minute, boy. You talking about Def Comedy Jam? Boy, y'all know I keep the party live 24/7.
Always. Well, brother, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Well, at first, I'm gonna get to a couple of these comments real quick. Winston is in the house. That's my brother, Winston. What's going on, sir? How you doing? These are our brothers out of your Falcon mind. Y'all can check them out on YouTube. Another great Falcon creator group starting up. Good to see y'all in the house. Hey, fellas, we'll catch the rest of the show tomorrow. Real quick for me, it was the Carolina game. Helicopter throw. Oh yeah.
Oh God. The infamous.
Have a great show. I got to get to one more, and that's my brother Jeremy Cox, who was also one of the guys on Atlanta Bird Gang, always with great perspective. Jeremy says when Pitts went out for the season, that was a blow, even though our pass game was never good. Knowing that Drake was our only other major target. Overall, though, we crushed all expectations for this year, and I can't be upset with them. Jeremy is setting the table for the question that I'm asking everybody today, Smitty, and I'm going to ask you. 2 games. Which game in 2022 gave you hope, and which game in 2022 let you know we needed to get ready for 2023?
Oh, they right next to each other, really. The game that gave me hope was the San Francisco 49ers.
All right.
Popular.
Top teams in the NFL, man. Strong defense. Falcons pounding and hit them in the mouth. Ran the football real strong. I thought after that game, I thought we had momentum. But a couple of weeks down the street to Washington, wasn't ready because same type of defense, even though they didn't have a strong secondary. Falcons should have won that game, but the clue that made that let you know that they weren't ready was the quarterback play and still the play call. And the reason why I say that, they couldn't make the throws in the clutch, and the play calling. We've seen the last 5 weeks. Certain points of the game, situation, play calling.
It's only 5 weeks.
A little bit more simple. So a little bit more simple play calling, trying to overthink. I think you've seen a lot of that this year. But the more talent you get, you can overthink a little bit because that talent is gonna, bring things in. And with the quarterback we have now, who's more of a pocket passer, you get your weapon back in Kyle Pitts next year. You get another wide receiver to go along with old boy. You'll see we'd probably be cooking with stuff.
Yeah.
But as I said on the show, recording the other day, This is the perfect year. Build that perfect defense around Grady Jarrett. You got
Got
too
to.
many options. You got top 10 pick. You can move up the board half before you need to. You can go through free agents and get another defensive line. So there would not be any excuses next year. That's just
none at all.
Can we beat this team? Can we stand up against this team? No more excuses.
No.
Those two games to me set the tone for the whole season. As far as momentum.
Good stuff. That's some good stuff. We got a question for the panel. So hey Steve, this is Lisa. A question for you and your guests. How do you feel about Grady Jarrett's post-game interview Saturday? Is obviously frustrated and it's understandable. Should we be concerned? Thoughts? I'm gonna go around the room. Alberto, I'm gonna let you handle it first.
I made a video about this last night, and because it hit home, it struck a chord. Grady Jarrett is by far the most important piece to this Atlanta Falcons organization. The man that he is, and in that locker room, he's an outside of the clubhouse leader. He just means so much to Atlanta. Hearing him say the things that he did, to me, it's like an underlying jab to the organization. It's like, yo, listen, you got to hear me out. I'm frustrated. What are you going to do next for me? Because the one thing we cannot afford as a defense, a young defense, is lose a veteran of 9 years. Because let's be honest, are we going to get stuck overpaying a Deron Payne to come in and bring that enthusiasm, that leadership that Grady brings week in and week out? I don't think so, man. Grady's the right cornerstone for this, and we have to build around him. It's imperative. We can't make the same mistakes that we have had with other talents that was here, and they asked to be traded or whatever the case might have been. They have to do right by Grady, man. It's just one of those things, man. Go out full out this free agency, bring in what you need, a piece or two on this defense. If you don't do that, then you got to get creative in the draft and get that dog for this guy to run with. Because if not, man, I don't know what's to come from Grady's perspective, man. But he spoke loud and clear. So, like I said at the end of my video, at Falcons, you're on the clock as far as this Grady Jarrett situation, man.
Oh yeah. Talk to me, Smitty. What you think?
Alberto said the perfect thing earlier. They on the clock, and like I texted him earlier, I hope the Falcons are paying attention. Because if y'all believe in history repeats itself, when his dad played middle linebacker in Atlanta, he could not get no talent around him after Deion Sanders left. I'm gonna be real with y'all. We had talent, but it was always towards the end of his career. 1998, when they went to the Super Bowl. Now you fast forward 20 plus years later, Grady Jarrett's in the same predicament. So I'm looking at another situation as far as another player quitting on this team. And he's getting older, almost 30 years old. And as I said, Jalen Carter is the pick that they should be going after. I mean, Jalen Carter the bust, because that's the top defensive player in this draft to probably help this team get to the next level. And you have players in free agent. We talk about all the time, Deron Payne, somebody of that establishment. That's two defensive linemen that can come in right away and help Grady Jarrett turn this team around. Because it starts up front. We all know that.
Right.
If they can start, I tell y'all all the time, if they can collapse that pocket, Arnold Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone, makes Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith look like geniuses. If they bring in the talent to help them get to the quarterback. And can't collapse the pocket, you can't get after the quarterback. I don't care how much speed you have. But Alberto, I agree with you. They on the clock. And we'll see. Because Grady was absolutely 100% right. Same, same year. Different year, I'm sorry. So he summed it up himself. Yeah. He just let y'all know he frustrated. He tired. Because you blame him.
I think I'm gonna take a different spin on this and not. Yes, very frustrated in the moment, and he was very specific a couple of times. If you go back and look, he said had a chance to make the playoffs, and here we go again. I'm paraphrasing. Here we go again. Kind of. This was probably since 2017, the closest they've come, albeit to the ineptitude of the NFC South, yet it was still an opportunity to have something to fight for in late December. And when somebody tells you it's all over and you still have 2 games left, I can imagine his frustration. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's he's frustrated. I wouldn't be shocked if Terry came and talked to him, or Arthur went and virtually put his arm around him and say, "Bro, I feel you. Please let us cook this offseason.
Yeah,
let us cook. Give us a little time." I purposely put his contract situation up here because I have heard people say, "Oh, is he trying to get out? Is he trying to get traded?" Stuff like that. But it's
for the whole crew.
It's gonna be difficult to. Now you can restructure, you can redo this, but you're gonna end up adding years past 2026.
Yeah,
not even playing years. Probably the bonus years you would probably have to go down, which is really the most important thing. Yeah. Even if he was gone in 26, you want it all to be gone in 2026. So I threw that up there to show people we owe him $16 million next year. They'll probably end up working that down, I think, a little bit anyway. 50, and they can actually get out of the contract in 2024 if things still continue to slide. I'm hoping they don't, but I just want everybody to realize I just think that was frustration, and I think everyone heard him. If you notice when they asked him, when he said, "I care about this," it was almost like asking, "Did anybody else care?" You kind of looked. Yeah. He kind of gave a little look, and I said, "That was for everybody to hear that."
Hell yeah,
that was for the locker room to hear what he said, and I think it was very effective. What he did on that particular thing. I got let me get a couple of more comments in here. My buddy Nacho had a message for you earlier there, Alberto. He's trying to say hello to you. And
what's going on, brother?
You had gone to the mailbox to pick up your Felipe Frank.
I sold out.
I figured you were gonna be gone for a while. Brother Wallace says hello to Ron says, "I wonder why every game we had a chance to take first place, it seems that we don't want it bad enough." And I know, you know what makes me disagree with that sentiment, and I'm not saying you're wrong, Ron, but I just disagree to say, because to me, a team that gives up I think I counted, it's 11 now, 11 of the games we've had this year. In 11 of the games with 2 minutes left, we had an opportunity to win the game. To me, that doesn't reek of don't want it bad enough. Maybe you're not good enough. To do this, which I'll think.
I'm with you with that, Uncle Steve. Yeah, of course. I think you hit the nail right on the head, man.
After that 4-4 start, we turned to the 2-15 team everybody expected us to be.
Yeah.
That's it.
What they say, the clock struck midnight on Cinderella. That type of thing.
They ate a bad piece of pumpkin pie and everything was wrong with it.
I've never stumbled across a bad slice of pumpkin pie, for the record.
That pumpkin pie was gone. That pumpkin pie was gone.
Man.
Jeremy said, "I enjoyed the breath of honesty from Grady. Someone had to say it. I'm sure he's tired of the losing seasons. I just hope he can hang on for one more year, because 2023 is when the real hope starts for me." I agree.
I wonder if this was also like a little underlying shot to Dean Pease, because Dean Pease in the summertime came out and says, "I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that." He was tired of everything under the sun. This defense is going to run 100%. We're going to open up the playbook, and then bull jive. Look what happens. Damn near last in every statistical category on defense. So, yeah, to Grady's point, different year, same. So maybe that was at him as well.
We talked about it earlier before you came on, Smitty.
Mm-hmm.
There was one game it looked like he opened up the playbook on defense, and that was against the Saints in the first
game.
First three quarters. That's the only game that it looked like, oh man, it's gonna be the defense.
Sheesh, man.
And we haven't seen anything that looks similar to that defense since then.
Right.
Nothing about that.
Crazy, man.
RJ says the game against the Rams was my hope. You're down 28-3 and actually rallied to make a competitive game thanks to the defense and special teams. That's actually low key not a bad example because it seemed like all hope was lost and kind of backing up what Ron was trying to say about don't want it bad enough. A team that don't want it bad enough would have sat back and just collected the check. And I think that's a good one. It says the Washington game at the goal line speaks volume. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was pretty man. Wallace says, I think the defense changed when they let Rush go and Hayward going on IR. Let's talk about Hayward real quick, fellas. Are we looking like that's a direction we want to? Should we cut him? I guess that's my thing. I know injuries happen. They hurried up and got Damian Smith up out of here. I mean, Williams. I'm sorry,
Damian Williams.
They hurried up and got him up out of here.
He wasn't coming back. We said that weeks ago.
Is Hayward a situation of somebody that we'll hold on to next year and see what happens?
This can go either of two ways, and this is just my opinion. If Oliver doesn't come back, which it looks like he won't come back, then I'd keep Hayward. I'd keep Hayward for that. Other than that, I might think about bringing somebody else in to replace Hayward. I mean, he didn't look all that great when he first started here. There's going to be some names on that free agency market that can be a massive upgrade to what Hayward could have been as a tandem with AJ Terrell. One player in particular, James Bradbury. We could line him up with AJ Terrell, form that duo that we thought Hayward and Terrell could have been, and just kill that notion. But the only way Hayward comes back, in my opinion, like I mentioned, is if Oliver doesn't return to the ball club. And I don't see Oliver returning to the ball club, unfortunately, unless it's a positional change if he switches to safety.
I don't have those high-tech skills like Smitty. We doing all of his stuff and everything. But I do want to show why you mentioned it. Smitty, is it anybody on this screen that possibly catches your attention? Obviously, Marcus Peters is. I got a feeling he'll end up going back to Baltimore, but he's a free agent available. And you just mentioned Bradbury, Alberto, Bradley Roby, Jonathan Jones. Who on that list, Smitty, kind of jumps out at you?
I said it already. Alberto spoke of it already. I had to say James Bradbury, who was in Philly, but I feel like he's going to return there. Jonathan Jones is another one.
Yeah,
Anthony Brown could be a good pickup, but I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna say if the Falcons don't move up and take Jalen Carter, I'm gonna be looking at a guy like Jordan Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez,
right?
Because you have a kid from Baylor that's 330-something pounds. And can move like a defensive end. He's probably gonna be there at the bottom of the first, top of the second. So cornerback is going to be a spot that might be a surprise to some, but not me. They know we need to get help with AJ because Darren Hall has not eaten a bowl of Wheaties in 6 weeks.
He got pulled this last game, didn't he?
Right.
He got replaced by Cornell Armstrong.
He got called to the principal office, got that yellow slip, and I don't think it's safe to say that he's a sure return next year.
Yeah.
So cornerback might be a position they may be looking at the top 10.
We said that last year about Darren Hall, and he ended up being back on this roster.
Yeah,
right.
And in all fairness to Darren, I think he knew he was a backup, but he got thrust into the role. And I think the thing that frustrates me, and I hope we can address it going into 2023, depth killed us in a lot of ways. I like the frontline rosters that we had when you talk about the starters, but when you're talking about bam, left guard out, bam, Kyle Pitts missed a game or two. Drake missing the game early this year. Hayward gone from game 2 or 3. So when you can't put someone in there to at least hold it down, it gets frustrating because you need to have at least some credible person to play at the cornerback. Left guard.
That's what I was saying earlier, Uncle Steve. When you have a defensive line that can get out to the quarterback, it takes stress off the secondary and the linebackers. Right. So this is why the defensive line is a must in the upcoming free agency and the draft. If you're going to change the tempo of this defense, you got to get monsters up front. DP should know it. Look at the defensive line he had in Baltimore. Some of them were not big names, but they were big bodies, and they knew how to get after the quarterback.
Right. I'm going to run through about 4 or 5 more comments. I always want to hear from the people, hear what they're saying. Jeremy Cox comes back, says, the Commanders game was especially painful because we should not have only beaten them last year. We should have crushed them. So back-to-back losses to them flat out suck. Absolutely. We made Tyler Heineke made him worldwide hero this year. Jimmy Hall is in the house. What's going on, Jimmy? I caught you earlier today. Good stuff. Ron Smith says, I was beginning the mob had a hit on Arthur if he sat Mariota down.
I think he heard the Atlanta fan base loud and clear. You should have listened to him weeks beforehand.
That was Zach Wilson type.
Oh my God! Don't call it that, man. Wow, man. Who's having a worse year than Russell Wilson for just for the sake of conversation, man? That guy.
You know what? I wish I could give Roddy White a gift certificate of Dunkin' Donuts because he said before the season started, he said the Falcons should not. Well, that was last year's draft. That they should not draft Zach Wilson because he's just all fun and games and he's one of those workout hype things, and he was absolutely right.
Right.
So get shout out to Roddy White.
Yeah, man.
Shout out 84 all the time. I was at that Commanders game when Mariota threw that red zone interception at the end. I wanted to cry, but I did not.
Oh man,
I did not. No, I didn't cry. I said some things I shouldn't be saying. Brother Atlanta Bird Gang in the house. What's going on, man? Good to have you joining us. Y'all make sure y'all punch the subscription button for them over there at Atlanta Bird Gang on YouTube. CP the Trucker. What's going on? Merry Christmas, my friend.
That's our dude right there.
Yeah, man. He is always around, giving us love. I saw the Bucks in Arizona last night, and that slot was straight trash. Can we beat either one? That is a very good
question.
It was interesting to me because Trace McSorley actually didn't play as bad as I thought. The Bucks at the end kind of went relentless on him and started bringing that rush at the end. But this is a good question. CP's gonna put up there. Can we beat either of those teams? Smitty, what you think?
I'm gonna shout out to CP the Trucker.
Yes, sir.
If he can deliver us some confidence, I think we can beat either one of them. But the confidence they've been playing with in the last 7 games, I wouldn't say that we should win any of these games. It's up to the coaching staff to coach win these games. I didn't even look at that game last night because I knew it was going to be a trash fest. But you have a third-string quarterback in Arizona. That game should be hands down one of our easiest games remaining. And one guy I'm going to be looking at that game is J.J. Watt. See what he has left in the tank, because 2023, that's a guy, if I'm Atlanta, I'm going to be looking at, not only for his play on the field, but his leadership in the locker room. So to answer that question short and simple, I don't know. CP, I don't know. I will be honest with you.
Man, shouts out again, right, to CP, man. But I just don't think so, man. I just don't think so. And this is no shot to like what Ritter's been doing because obviously we saw the progression from first start to second start, but it's just not enough time, not enough games to get anything going. And the way that we have been playing, I just my confidence a little shot with that right now. So I would take that route and be like, nah, I don't think so, man. I don't think either game's gonna be tough enough because and not to cut you off, Uncle Steve, but that last game against Tampa Bay is gonna probably put out its full efforts and try and beat us because a playoff game might be at stake for them right there. It might be them or the Panthers going in. So who knows, man? It's just a lot going against us right now, these last two games.
And P.S. I actually be rooting for Carolina over Tampa Bay. I just can't stand Tom Brady.
As much as Carolina is supposed to be our rival, I would definitely root for Carolina. Yeah. It's funny, the question CP asked, can we beat either one? I digress to a question I heard someone else say, and I think it was on Twitter when they were saying the Falcons don't need to tank. We need to try to win. No. The Falcons need to tank so we can get the 5th pick or 7th pick or whatever. What do we need to do? Put the young people in? And I commented and I told him, I said, no, just keep playing like we've been playing, unfortunately. Because the way we've been playing,
they look like 3rd and 4th stringers.
I think if you put the roster as constructed up against what I saw with Arizona, and I saw the defense and the pressure they were bringing to Tom Brady and frustrating him last night, I don't think you're gonna have to do much. And our propensity to make no-name quarterbacks, Pickett, go down the line, Pickett and what's the guy? PJ Walker twice.
Yeah, PJ Walker twice. Huntley,
even though Huntley didn't do great, he
made us look real bad.
He's horrible. Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. I'm looking at average to below average quarterbacks, and in each one of those games, sans the first game against New Orleans, no pass rush, no threat of pass rush. I'm a Falcon fan like you all through and through. You might not need to do much to lose these games. You just put the roster out there.
Augustine, the Douglas High Astros 3rd string quarterback could have beat the
Falcons. God damn. Man, you brought up
look, that deep street.
Hey. You know what? You brought up something interesting, man. This whole entire season, we're getting ready to play about 4 good quarterbacks. Herbert, if you want to consider Stafford one.
And the Falcons played good against him.
Yeah, and they played damn good against him. Let me see. Jimmy Garoppolo, Joe Burrow.
The only guy that destroyed us.
Yeah. So let me see. 1, 2, 3. You got about 4 elite quarterbacks that we played, and everybody else has been backups to backups or guys from the CFL, man. So, man, what the hell are we doing, man?
Some just getting Gatorade out the cooler with the clipboard in their hand.
Yeah, for real, man.
I'm trying to tell you, man, it is going to be. I'm looking. The reason why I was pausing for a quick second. Next season, we end up playing the NFC North and the AFC South. We thought we were going to get a reunion with Matt Ryan, but don't look like that might happen. But if you look at the quarterbacks, to your point, you brought this up. Look at the quarterbacks we're going to be playing. We have no idea in Carolina. Right. We have no idea in New Orleans. We might not have an idea in Tampa Bay.
Correct.
Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, whoever's quarterbacking for Indy,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, we've seen him before. He might be better by the end, so I don't want to dog him out completely. He might be a better product by the time next year comes.
Texans will have a rookie quarterback.
Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and whoever's the quarterback at Tennessee, because I don't think it's a guaranteed at Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill.
No, he's gone. That's going to be the Malik Willis show from going forward.
So I'm looking at all that, and just to piggyback off your thought when you were talking about Alberto.
Yep.
Think about this. And I know I'm beating a dead horse. Sorry. If we had a quarterback in place in 21, think about how we would be set up. Well, we would have been set up this year.
Yeah.
We got
but think about next year. And next year, as far as quarterback is concerned, man, I think we would be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else in the NFC South, and could possibly go on a nice little run.
Yeah.
I'm parlaying this question into saying, do you all think, and I'm not even being specific, do you all think that do we need 2 more games of Ritter? Or is the plan, soon as that season ends, to pick up the phone and see what's out there, whether it be draft or free agency, to get the next Atlanta Falcon quarterback in here?
That's a tremendous question.
That's a great question, but I wouldn't go NFL draft.
I'm
looking to go out to a quarterback. I'm picking up that phone to see what Baltimore is talking about, Las Vegas Raiders are talking about. And I'm gonna surprise some people. And I know he's in a better situation where he is. I even see what Detroit is talking about with Jared Goff.
I got one.
So interesting. That is actually not bad.
Not bad. I might throw a clunker out here, but Taylor Heineke is competent enough. What's Washington do? Washington gonna make sacrificial lamb out of Carson Wentz yet again with that contract?
Yep, they will.
Or they have enough faith in the kid, be like, hey, listen, anytime this kid's behind center, there's success. So hey, who knows? That might be a name there. He's a free agent next year.
Heineke could be interesting, but I have a sneaky suspicion. I think Heineke, in my opinion, brother, is equal to what I think Ritter can turn out to be.
Okay.
As far as just me.
Yeah. No. I think it's a high regard.
What I see from Heineke looked, I'll even go this far. Heineke looked better last year.
He did.
Than he looked this year. He managed that team very well. This year. But has he really put up some numbers, or did he just steady the ship?
I think he studied the ship, man.
Yeah, ultimate game.
So Smitty opened up Pandora's box.
There's one quarterback on here that I'm looking at.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of people will laugh at.
Tom Brady.
No, thank you.
God, because I'm out of ice and hot and I'm out of being gay. But let me tell you, I did a video on this last year and earlier this year. Well, actually earlier this year, and people laughed at it. Baker Mayfield was on my radar when Cleveland cut him. And you see what he's doing in Los Angeles. Yeah, he has his ups and downs. That's any quarterback. But he's one of those quarterbacks that's competent enough to carry a team that has a very good run game. And if they can go out and get a Baker Mayfield or Teddy Bridgewater, I think Bijan Robinson becomes more in the conversation going past the first round. If he falls anywhere from the bottom of the first to the top of the second, you can get Bijan Robinson along with a veteran free agent quarterback and Jalen Carter. Oh man, you won the draft already. Already. Because it's 2 key positions that you need on the field right now. And that's no knock against Desmond Ritter. But
no,
Ritter don't know
not at all.
No, definitely not.
Your charge as a general manager is to field the best roster that you can going into the season. That's not a slight on Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter was a 3rd-round draft pick.
Man, for real.
Some of us want to make a Superman cape out of him and put it on him and go in there, but he's not. Again, he's not a super quarterback coming into this draft. Because guess what? If he was, he would already been on the field. And I'll even go a step further. Do y'all realize Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis both got on the field before Ritter this year? I mean, so I'm saying, I don't know if I would be too quick. Only thing I caution you on, Smitty, about this, and Alberto, come in and help me out. I need some back on this.
Oh Lord, they finna jump on me like
we jumping on you, man. You were asleep. You were asleep, Smitty. We were trying to wake you up. You were asleep, man. You should have been eating all that. Should have been eating all that Dunkin' Donuts overnight. Y'all should have been lit up last night.
I had some coffee to go with it, so I'm good.
Here we go. Here we go.
Does it concern you that the man played for 3 different teams this year on 3 different rosters? And I say this to say not about playing ability. Is there something internal about these teams that Cleveland had a chance to get Deshaun Watson. That was an upgrade.
That was an upgrade, right?
And then you go to Carolina where they have nobody. And you can't win the game. You can't win the starting quarterback slot there. Obviously, he went to the Rams as a throwaway when Stafford couldn't play. But is there something, Alberto, that makes you kind of just say buyer beware if you were talking about Baker Mayfield coming in?
Absolutely. It's all in his attitude. For me, it's like if it's not going his way, he wants to take his ball and run out of town, so to say. He had no choice in Cleveland. And you know, in Carolina, for all the great that they were talking about him, you've seen glimpses of him just being that troubled teammate on the sidelines. So when things aren't going his way or he's not getting what he wants, he's not a fun guy to be around. So I think probably these organizations just got tired of all the antics and it's like, you know what? You can go. There's the door. Goodbye, my friend. Thank you for your services. For one, I wouldn't want that same attitude here in Atlanta neither, man. I don't think this organization can afford to have somebody like him, especially when we got the presumed franchise quarterback or the future in Desmond Ritter. You don't want that rubbing off on him. So you got to protect, you got to protect that asset in a sense too. So I would definitely, swipe left on that, man, with Baker Mayfield.
The good thing is he wouldn't command a big contract. There's no way coming off of this that he could do that. So from a physical standpoint, Smitty, actually, I'm game to think about it. But I'm wondering, and I hate to use the word, cancer in the locker room, but I'm saying, is he somebody that with a young roster that I want leading those guys? It's something about a man that's going to 3 different teams. It's got to be more than just the physical traits of him.
Uncle Steve, like Alberto said, you got to think about what was going on in the first 3 situations. Cleveland, they brought in Deshaun Watson. You can understand him being mad.
Right.
Carolina, they had 2-3 quarterbacks already, so why trade for him?
One pick in the draft,
Rams, like you said, with Stafford. I mean, he just really hasn't had a fast shake with either team. Yeah, to be honest. So going into next year, I think he has time to go search deep down in his soul to his ego because. That ego gonna kill his career, man. I'm gonna be honest. And there's one more quarterback on that list that you had.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get it.
No, I know the name. I know the name. That's playing better than he has the previous 2 years, and that's Daniel Jones, and he's only 25 years old.
I don't think they're gonna let him
that can sling the football. And I know he tripped over his own foot, and that's anybody could do that. Yeah, but 25 years old, starting experience in the NFL. He played well when Saquon was running the football like he was supposed to. So if you put him on the run first team, he'd probably be very productive. You have weapons in London and Pitts and could bring in another one. So Daniel Jones is another guy that I would be looking at because he has an NFL caliber arm. That's why they moved up the board to get him. And I don't think the Giants bring him back, they're going to be another team in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. So, David.
Possibly.
Daniel Jones,
That's a good
Daniel
wild
Jones,
card right there,
Daniel
man.
Jones is another guy I would look out for.
Yeah. Wow.
Daniel Jones is actually good, and I do believe they'll probably be in that. The only thing I'll say is that if Saquon sticks around, I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to probably want Daniel. He might not be long term. They might give. I don't think they'll franchise him. That'll be too much money to give him.
Right.
But I do think it's a possibility because is anybody else going to give Daniel Jones a long term contract?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think at the most he'll get 3 years.
Right.
If that,
yeah. 2 with an option for 3.
2 with an option. Yep.
So if that's the case, New York would jump on that because
they
probably wouldn't have a lot to lose, and you can cut bait if things don't work out.
Right. Have an opt-out year or something built in, voided year or something like that. Brian Daboll came in and made him into a competent quarterback because the years prior with Joe Judge under head coaching, that was a bad matchup right there. Them two.
Hello. Hey,
let me jump ahead. Let me jump ahead to some of these comments, folks. We got a whole bunch of them coming in real quick.
Yeah.
Let me catch everybody here. Daniel says, I want to win every game as a fan, but as a realist, I knew we were limited on Mariota alone. Jimmy says, talent or not, we had a chance. No excuses next year when we got money to spend. Nacho says hello to Smitty and asked Smitty if he could pass over one of the glazed donuts that he had last night during Christmas.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, the glazed one is the best one. You can get one of these chocolate Springfield donuts. Because the glaze gone.
My brother John is in the house. John says the Frisco game and the Bengals game. He's talking about the David says we must get Grady some help.
Hello.
Nacho says I find Grady absolutely right. He is one of the few who breaks his behind in every game for the team. David also comes back and says Carter will also help the pass rush off the edge. He and Grady will make them double team. Got a nice little mention from Dallas Cowboy. He always jumps in here every now and then just to remind us of how lucky he was to be the backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. We got Markeith is in the house. What's going on, man? Travis says to hear the words that Grady spoke after the game should speak volumes to everyone. Absolutely. Darius, what's going on? Darius says, what's going on, fellas? I hope we pick defense. Right there, yes, sir. Darius is always in the house. Said, I hope we pick defense in the first 2 rounds in the draft. I say DT. I see DT and then get your corner. Timothy comes back and says to everyone on the panel, what are the positions of need this offseason? And do we need a veteran quarterback to help Ritter? I think we spoke a little bit about the quarterback situation. I'm going to start with one because I don't want to steal our thunder because I'm pretty sure we'll be putting together a power pack show full of needs. But right off the rip, just the top of the head, first position that you think of need aside of quarterback, Alberto?
Defensive tackle.
That's good. What about Smith?
Defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle. And Jalen Carter is within spit's reach of in the draft. And if people look at let me ask y'all a question real quick, and I know I don't want to, like I said again, I don't want to steal the thunder. If Will Anderson was there and you had a choice between Jalen Carter and Will Anderson, who would you take if both are available?
Now
go ahead.
This is before free agency. So
this is before free agency now. This is before free agency.
This is hard to answer because if we land the stud at defensive tackle, I'm going Will Anderson with whatever pick we land in, if that's top 5 or top 3.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Because the dream scenario would be to get Teron Payne, and hopefully somebody like that to fit in. But let's just say Deron Payne goes to play with The Rock at the XFL and something like that happens. So let's put who would you pick? I got to put you on the spot.
No,
for me,
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. What about you? What about you, Smitty?
Hold on. You say what now?
Oh, here we go.
2-1. Yeah, 2-1. Okay.
Oh,
my buddy said he said Jalen Carter, man.
Jalen Carter all day. And listen, you can't go wrong.
As I said earlier, Uncle Steve, I think to start that defensive line, you get push up front, and you wouldn't even have to go get Deron Payne if you get Jalen Carter. You just get a consistent veteran that's played well his career. And our boy Kifo, he put out a great name, Jalen Hargrave. If Hargrave leaves Philadelphia, that would be another good move.
Oh yeah.
So I say Jalen Carter all day. And don't get me wrong, I love Will Anderson. I think he's going to be a beast. He reminds me of a Von Miller type player. But Jalen Carter, man, he gives me Aaron Donald vibe. Somebody that can take over a game.
He could definitely take over a game. And you know what? He could be sitting right out. He could fall right to our lap. Even if we end up with a top 5 pick, as we all know that disgusting Todd McShay claim about a locker room guy, man, and I don't understand why he did that. He took that route to talk bad about him. But if teams actually start honing in on that and start turning their face to that, and we could be right there for the picking and not have to give up any assets to move up if we have to. So
that's true. That's true. I'm going to get down here a couple more comments. Again, appreciate everyone in Uncle Steve's Lounge and Atlanta Bird Gang joining us today. Don't forget, go to YouTube, subscribe to 95 North Sports Talk and the fabulous Smitty as Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Don't forget to sub those guys up as well. David says, I'm sorry, what did he say?
Shout out Dunkin' Donuts. We trying to get that sponsorship.
Oh, hey man. Hey, there you go. There you go. David Starr says, cut Hayward. He's on the wrong side of 30. His best days in San Diego. I say fine. Cornerback. I think we were talking about that a little bit
never
earlier.
Agree with that. Darryl Green played till he was almost 40.
This is true, but everybody can't play to that level. See Tom Brady versus Matt Ryan. I think there were people here in Atlanta that tried to make that foolish comparison to say, well, if Tom Brady can play this long, we can overpay Matt Ryan to stay until he's 38. And 2 benchings later in Indianapolis, we see how that's working out.
Augustine, I bought a whole thing of honey mustard dipping sauce because I know that chicken tender arm was about gone. So
it's all gone.
It's gone, bro.
That's gone, man.
Nacho throws out a name. Nacho throws out a name. Keely Ringo.
That one.
Yeah,
I talked about that one.
Let me ask you all a question. Who's the best cornerback? I don't know. I'm going college. I know. I don't know if y'all keep up as much. Who's been the best playing cornerback this year for University of Georgia?
Ringo.
Y'all don't slip on Malachi Starks.
I would say. Chris Smith.
Chris Smith too. I think the freshman has done very well. So we just said 2 different names.
Yeah.
Is Keely Ringo living off the outstanding game-clinching interception he made at University of Georgia? Because don't get me wrong, I take a flyer on maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. I'm just not sure he's that.
That's good.
You look at his size, he's 6'2", 205, so he's a big physical corner, something that we need in the NFC South.
Yes.
He's like Mr. Slant Thomas, Mike Evans, and
may
DJ
not be
Moore in Carolina
as of next year.
Right. Yeah, because he keep hitting an electric slide on his ankle and he keep going the wrong way. So I think with a big physical corner, I think that would definitely work. But Uncle Steve, you're absolutely right. I thought about 1st round at first, but he took a step back this year in coverage. So if he's there in the 2nd round, I definitely would take a look at that.
Right. Winston says Troy Hill in the slot and move Oliver to safety, the nose tackle from Baylor, and I've heard a lot about him. And he's rated as the second best D-line in the draft, but he might be gone by the time we pick. I think they have him rated down a little further.
Yeah.
They got him towards like in the 20s.
20s. That's and so would it be one of those cases where you might want to jump up if Jalen isn't available? Maybe, but I'm not sure if he would be a number 7.
I'm gonna be honest right quick. If we miss on Jalen in the top 10, I would make that mistake twice. I would definitely, if Will Anderson on the board, you take him, of course.
Yeah.
But if neither one of those guys on the board, I'm definitely looking at Joey Porter Jr.
Okay.
All day long.
Okay. Joey, and he's starting to get some steam.
He is.
Now, he's been getting a lot of steam over the last couple of weeks. I've been hearing his name quite a bit. Wallace says,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Let's go, brother.
And this is for you, Smitty. Okay, Joey Porter Jr. I understand why. Sticky coverage, very physical guy, zone coverage guy, plays it at Penn State very well. But say we finish in the top 5, but is that number 5 spot too sweet for Joey Porter Jr., or is this a scenario where Atlanta cannot make the mistakes that they've made before and go BPA and ignore the depth issues that we have? Because, of course, some teams are going to probably call up to number 5 and be like, hey, listen, Atlanta, we'll give you this, and that. Atlanta has to entertain that as well, because there's going to be a team that's going to be knocking at the door. The sweet spot a couple years ago was number 4 for Pitts, and we ignored it. We took the BPA. Can't do that again this year if we're talking about making the same mistake.
If we finish in the top 5, I said it earlier today on the Jalen Carter video. If they're in the top 5, you have no reason not to go up to number 1. And the reason why I say that, the trade scale has changed. If you move up from 5 to 1, you only give up probably 1 first-round pick, a second, and maybe a second next year. I can deal with that. So if they can move up the board all the way to number 1 to guarantee that they get one of those defensive players that they want, I'm going for it. At this point, after that Kyle Pitts number 4 pick, you got to take a chance. You got to. Because they didn't take a chance that time because Patrick Surtain was still on the board, Michael Parsons, guys like that. You can't make that mistake again. Right. So go up the board to make sure you don't make that mistake again. You pick one of the best players in the draft, whether it's Anderson, Carter, and if you don't want one of those guys, you move back a little bit, get you a Christian Gonzalez and add picks. Yeah, because they definitely need depth.
What I'm looking at now, and forgive the little ads, there's no way to take it out.
I like Cheez-It, so you ain't got.
Yeah, I was about to say it. Guys eat Cheez-Its, courtesy of Take-a-thon. I'm looking at the top. We're number 6 at the moment. Right. Ironically, Indianapolis is 5. That isn't lost upon me. Houston's looking at a quarterback.
Right.
Denver's not looking at a quarterback. Arizona's not looking at a quarterback. So
I digress. I think Arizona will be looking for a quarterback because I think Kyler Murray will be on the trade market this offseason.
You think
if they get rid of if they get rid of Cliff Kingsbury, he's definitely on the trade market because I don't see him playing in another type offense.
Yeah, I think
offense suits him to a T.
I'll tell you this, man. I think they'll get rid of Cliff and keep Kyler Murray. So Cliff will be the one to go.
Hey, so there it is. There it is.
So.
Okay.
Arizona out of the running.
Since y'all both brought that up and so quick to talk about that, 1 year, not even 1 year, Nathaniel Hackett out at Denver.
Oh, I do that. I called it months ago.
Do you think there's a possibility that you could try to unload Russell Wilson to a team? Because I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm like, if you're getting rid of Kyler and Kingsbury could be gone, Hackett was probably brought in Bobby Petrino style to work with Russell Wilson on that offense, and that was a failure. Who's to say the next guy coming in wants to work with Russell?
You can't pull Russell Wilson out their truck with a pallet jack. That contract is just too much, man.
It's too much.
And Kyler
I'm saying it's more manageable than a $50 million contract. Yeah. Kyler Murray, his money is different. He has less money in the beginning, more at the end, which I could deal with.
That's true.
But Russell Wilson had $50 million a year. So that nobody touching that, man.
I'll say this. I'll say one more thing. Denver, I think Russell Wilson's safe there. Why is Russell Wilson safe there? Smitty, like you mentioned, because of the contract situation. But there's already rumblings of who the next head coach is going to be over there, and that's Dan Quinn. And who's Dan Quinn going to bring with him? Schottenheimer's son, who has already a connection with Russell Wilson from his days in Seattle. So now you bring in the offensive coordinator. You got your defensive-minded coach to go along with that stout defense that Denver has over there.
Wow.
Now we're talking about a quick turnaround in its own sense for next year. So I take Denver out of the equation as far as taking a quarterback this year.
I meant to text you earlier, Uncle Steve, until you was right. They said Sean Payton 2 choices are Los Angeles Chargers and Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
But they also said he wants to go to a team where he's familiar with the GM, which means Falcons are still in that race too.
Shoot.
So you may be right, Uncle Steve, but trust me, Terry Fox know them. They're lurking in that background. Trust me, because at the last minute, what did we see last offseason? Hey, what Deshaun Watson to the Falcons? Where that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
I know
the conversation. Trust me.
I know. And before these last 4 games, I would have said you were out of your mind. But I actually thought about you because me and you were talking about Sean Payton.
Hey, told you.
I didn't say I agreed, Alberto. Don't get it. Don't get it. Look. If you were trying to make me be kumbaya with him, no, I'm agreeing, Smith.
Hey, what did I say though? What did I say?
He did.
He can tie it all together, especially when you have Alvin Kamara on the trade block, and they're going to blow up the Saints as well. So you can see more Saints on the Falcons next year. Everybody but DeMario Davis.
Oh, God.
Yeah, DeMario's not going anywhere. He's like a leader. I started leaning towards you because I started thinking about the Terry Fontenot situation. And I said, Terry is, after these last couple of games, he would be foolish not to at least entertain it because you get a quick upgrade in coaching. You get a quick upgrade in respect. Just like we were talking about with Lamar Jackson, immediately you have attraction of people saying, oh, I want to go play for Sean Payton.
There's the lure.
So
there's the attraction.
As much as it pains me, there's a slight possibility Smitty could be right on this particular thing. And I know I told him maybe not, but okay, Smitty, I'll give you a little bit.
And another thing, think about this. If they can land Sean Payton, they already have a quarterback in place because his system is so simple. We wouldn't even think about a rookie quarterback.
Right.
We would be probably get a veteran to back him up.
Right.
But you could really build that defense if Sean Payton comes here.
Yeah.
Because we have offensive pieces already. And don't expect Cordell Patterson to come back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And we get to these last couple of ones. I was trying to wrap up by 8. I appreciate everyone coming on. I want to try to get to as many people as I can. Lisa said, so now that we're officially eliminated from the playoffs, does it make sense for the starters to play the last 2 games? Of course, we need to see more from Desmond, but I was thinking about the vets. I'm gonna go around real quick. I'm of the thought that if you're available and you can play, you want to still build, and it's something all 3 of us I think talked about in the preseason when we won games, to say you still want to put a taste of winning in people's mind if you can. You can't have a roster of young guys and just say, yeah, you're getting playing time. No, you still want an opportunity to try to win. Though I don't think we'll win both. I think we might win maybe Arizona, but I say just go with who you have in there. What do y'all think?
I say this. Yeah, sure. Like you said, having a taste in your mouth of winning is very contagious and stuff like that. But a lot of Falcons are playing on 1-year deals, and they have incentive to play to show their worth to the team. So it would be indicative of them to want to come out and play. There's a couple free agents we got coming up. Isaiah Oliver, Caleb McGarry. There's a lot of guys that have incentive to want to play out these last 2 games.
You forgot my name.
Which one's that one?
Arthur Smith.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He could be coaching for his job.
That's true. Yeah. But to answer Ms. Lisa's question, yeah, absolutely. These vets, they have to play. Absolutely.
Yeah, they making $17 million plus. Yeah, they need to play.
Yeah.
No off days. They making that kind of money. Like you said, 1 year contract. They need to play.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, most of all, Arthur Smith coaching for his job. He needs everybody to play.
Go ahead. I'm looking at this list real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody on this list that you and I'm not talking about a personal favorite. I'm saying from an NFL standpoint, is there anybody?
I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. From an NFL standpoint, is there anybody on this list that people say, "Oh, I've got to have"? And I'm looking at this list, folks. I know we all been talking about we'd love to have Rashaan Evans maybe stick around one more year, possibly. But Lorenzo Carter, Caleb McGarry, OZ, Isaiah, the punter probably will stick around. Keith Smith, Smitty's favorite boy, Eric Harris, Demir Bird. So I'm saying, when you start looking at this list, are there desirables around? So coming to answer your question again, Lisa, these vets need to play because they need to put something on paper for the other team.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, but the one at the top of the list is probably the one I would be looking at the most.
Oh, Lorenzo.
I think he would probably be a key rotational piece.
I'm gonna say,
if you see $3.5 million, that's a head scratch, and I don't think he'll have to pay much more than that. Probably another $1 million, $1.5 million, and you got him back 3 years, $15 million.
Maybe.
So, I think Lorenzo Carter and Eric Harris. I want my Dunkin' Donuts sponsorship, so he got to come back.
I'll say this, if I can real quick, I'll say this. I think the most important free agent on this list,
right?
Second guy right there, Caleb McGarry.
Yes, it's important.
It's very important, and I'll say why. Because you want to talk about a guy that turned his season around, his career around. No one has benefited more than Caleb McGarry. He's a top 5 right tackle. Yeah. Top 5, man. And he's really put in the work. And I say he's the most important piece because for continuity's sake on the offensive line, Atlanta's got the 6th ranked offensive line. They unison together, they work tremendously. There's nobody else, that's going to, come in and fill that role that McGarry is. Are we going to trust a rookie? I don't think so. I think we need to find a creative way. And yeah, that number sticks out like a sore thumb. 6.7 million. Yeah. we can go into this offseason like we attacked it in the 2019 draft. We drafted both of those gentlemen. We might be re-signing both of those gentlemen, to stick around in Atlanta for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Lindstrom ain't going nowhere.
If Fetty could be one, though. If Fetty could be one. And there are going to be a lot of free agent offensive tackles coming back. Coming out of free agents is because I think they just got to rebuild on the line too. So that's a team to look out for.
Yeah, they do for sure. But do you pay market value for an Orlando Brown? Because Orlando Brown, that's going to cost you probably anywhere 19, 20 million.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And
the only offensive lineman that I said that I would pay that kind of money for is Trent Williams. But other than that, I don't see it.
Yeah. And maybe that, McGarry might be affordable for us, given his start, the way he's been playing. It might be wise to just keep him on a 2-year deal, one of those, 2-year proven deals with an option year or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Nacho says Buda Baker is out for the season. There's a factor Atlanta to take advantage. Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Thanks for the news there.
But I don't think they can take advantage of that with Parker Hesse. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
Parker Hesse gonna catch a touchdown this week. Wait, I'm gonna skip to a couple of folks that I haven't seen. Our buddy Ghost Peppers is in the house.
Oh my God.
This Falcons defense has a bad habit of making backup quarterbacks look like the second coming of Joe Montana instead of making like the second coming of Ryan Lee.
Hey, he's right.
He's true.
Mm-hmm.
Christie's back in the house, says, I think we need a good backup quarterback and possibly replace the quarterback coach. The quarterback coach.
She forgot one. She forgot the wide receiver coach too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting there. Nacho comes back, says, as far as quarterback, I'd get a good backup. Jacoby Brissett would be a good option if you want a cosmic experience. Bring back Uncle Rico. Gardner miss you. Now, you can laugh about Gardner if you want to. But Gardner put up 30 points. 20-something points on a nice Dallas defense yesterday. I'm not saying he's our next quarterback, but it's something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
We got to have a vet on this team.
Got to.
Jeremy says, I'll be torn all season on swinging on the fences for a top price quarterback. We need that energy injection from the fans, Super Bowl chatter from the pundits, but so did Denver. Yeah.
Only top price quarterback I'm going out there is Lamar Jackson. Anybody else, you'll get a call down the road if I can't find one in the draft.
I think this is our sister Toya comes in and said, will Derek Carr be available? I think he's going to be available, but I'm not sure if that's going to be.
How many years he got left on his contract?
I think he has.
Yeah, contractually, I think he's still in it. He would have
but I think they can get. This is that opt-out year.
Oh, okay.
That he can go. That's why everybody's been talking about.
Depending on what dead cap money space is.
Right. He could be able to get in there. Dave says, what's up, Dave? Dave says, my prediction is Jones will either stay in New York or land in Carolina. I don't know about Carolina. Robinson says, why can't we just invest in Ritter and put our capital on defense and more weapons for Ritter? We talk about Ritter like he's Zach Wilson, and I feel Ritter could be that guy. And listen, Robinson, and thank you, brother, for coming in. I don't think I'm not trying to tell you Ritter won't be the answer. I'm not. I just think I'm upset at this franchise for waiting till this year to get a lower tier quarterback. And I say lower tier, but I'm saying, let's face it, he was in third round. He can't even go around and say, I'll get all the teams for not drafting me. They didn't draft you twice, 2 times around. So I think going into 2023, you see who is the best candidate to come on this team next year, in my opinion. What do y'all think?
I'm gonna be honest. While he was talking about Zach Wilson, and that may give him a look because he was high on their board during the draft. So if he comes here as a backup, just don't be surprised. I'm gonna just be real.
You just hurt my heart, man. There is nothing, and somebody said it before when they were talking about Zach Wilson. You think about how his pick was. I mean, think about that now. Think about the Jets if they would have had Justin Fields. Think about. I mean, you starting to realize how people might have been a little wrong about what we might see out of Justin. He was the wild card. Folks were like, including the Falcons. And I'm trying to tell y'all, I think going into next year, he's gonna get with one of them throwing gurus and get his. Is that what now?
You read my mind.
Yeah, some Tom House.
Right.
Yeah,
he got to be in a perfect situation with the perfect coordinator. If he had to come to Atlanta, you see what Matt Ryan did last year and Marcus Mariota did this year. I think it would have probably ruined him. I'm gonna be real with y'all because I don't see either one of them developing a quarterback. That's the key to bringing in a quarterback. If you can develop them, that means you make the right pick. If you can't, and you depending on what you have around them, and he can't make the throws or make the plays that he need to make, that's a big no-no. Even though he's learning to use his legs for the better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My brother Anthony White is in the house. Said that's $100 million cap hit if they try to get rid of Russ. Right. He'll be there next year. And you're right, Anthony. I think I'm just spitballing because this has been such a disaster. I don't think in their wildest dreams Denver thought they would be 4-11 at this time. And Russ only missed one game, right? Or two? One game. So it's not like he has been injured. Russ just has not played well this year. And that's one of those things you got to look at.
I think Eldridge more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Eldridge says Grady to the Cowboys.
Oh, no.
Dan Quinn would love it.
He ain't going to be there next year. Dan Quinn going to be there.
and remember, Jerry Jones made him the highest paid coordinator not to leave next year. I'm here to tell y'all and mark it down and take receipts. If Dallas doesn't go, contrary to the great Smitty and his prognostication, if Dallas does not make the Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy will be fired and Sean Payton will be announced as the next quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Mark it down. Mark it down. I'm telling you, mark it down. Fall starts in the house. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Merry Christmas to you. Glad to have you in the house. Augusta Gator in the house. What's going on, brother? Say everything will be all right. I hope it is. Gator, you got to catch us next go around. Man, I can't tell y'all how much of a pleasure it's been hanging with my brothers here on a Monday aftermath here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Please, gentlemen, if you don't mind, in between drinking your hot lattes from Dunkin' Donuts, would you please tell us where you guys are located in the YouTube universe? Talk to me, Smitty.
I'm located on between Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Bankhead with the Krispy Kreme up on the corner. But y'all can catch me on YouTube. It's Smitty Sports Machine, man. Also catch me on Spotify. And I'm going to start doing more recordings on Spotify, man. And if y'all can, please go subscribe to these guys, man. They stick their neck out to help me out on Tuesdays and Sundays after Falcons games. And we're going to be on tomorrow night, me and Alberto, hoping Uncle Steve can be in the back of the mail truck, in the back of the parking lot with the two flat tires.
So descriptive.
So you can catch me on YouTube.
Oh, man.
Good job.
So that's your boy Albert, your host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show. That's one of the platforms you can catch me on YouTube and also on Twitter under RI Falcons. That's another platform on YouTube. But it's always an honor, man. Always an honor to rock with you fellas, man. Definitely the pioneers in this, man. I appreciate you both, man.
Appreciate everyone hanging. Thank you, brothers. I appreciate y'all. Food is calling a brother as usual. And since Smitty didn't leave any food outside the house after the Christmas party, I'm going to have to go upstairs and get my own. So
go ahead, Unc. Go ahead, Unc.
Yeah. Everybody have a beautiful Monday, man. I know everybody's still in the holiday spirit. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Warming up a smidge, at least. I think I heard it's supposed to be 66 by Saturday. So down here, matter of fact, what's the temperature up there, brother Alberto?
I think it's around. I'll tell you 2 seconds. Hold on, because it is a whopping 24 degrees right now.
That's about what we've been like the last couple of days. I think I'm looking right now is 34. So we're not far away from what you got going on up there, man. Right. everybody be safe, man. Appreciate you again, fellas. We'll holler at y'all. Uncle Steve's Lounge. Don't forget, subscribe, like the video, push it out there. We will holler at everyone later on. Peace, my brothers. Everybody be good. Peace.